Good morning, Mr. Murray Leader. Can you see and hear me okay?
Good morning, Your Honor. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. I understand that you've got another hearing at 10 o'clock.
They pushed it back to 11.
Okay.
They just did that yesterday.
Okay. Well, here, I don't see Mr. Schroeder in the yet. Have you had any contact with Dylan Andrew Schroeder?
I sent him the information last week, again this week.
It's just now 9 o'clock, and I do have a couple of unknown individuals in the waiting room who didn't put their names in. So let's go ahead and take up. You ready, Stella? We're going to go ahead and go on the record with CR 20-9 State versus Lindy Cherie Delaney. She's set for arraignment today in CR 2399. And also for docket call in CR 29. I see here that the state has filed a motion to dismiss in CR 20-9 on the basis of restitution being paid in full. Are we also disposing of the new manufactured delivery charge as well?
No, Your Honor, the credit card or debit card abuse, that offer for restitution upon dismissal was made prior to Ms. Delaney's new charge. Because she did honor her agreement in that, we are dismissing the credit card abuse. However, the state does intend to proceed in the second-degree man delivery charge.
Mr. Merlader, do you know if Ms. Delaney intends on logging in this morning? I haven't seen her either.
Judge, I just spoke with her earlier this morning. Texting her right now to see if she's on Zoom. But she said she'd be on there. She said she's at work and she's going to be on Zoom.
If she's not logged in under her name, she'll need to log out and log back in with her first and last name. Otherwise, I will not be able to identify.
Okay, I'll tell her that right now. And Mr. Schroeder texted that he is on Zoom. I'm going to ask him to do the same. Log back out and log back in under his name.
All right, Mr. Murley, I'm going to go ahead and bring in some other attorneys while you're lining up your clients. State, I'm going to attempt to bring in David Lee Gray and Mr. Jason Parrish. I'll see both of them in. Good morning, Mr. Parrish. Can you see and hear me okay? Good morning, Mr. Parrish. Can you see and hear me okay?
Yes, Your Honor, I can.
All right, good morning. Mr. Gray, can you see and hear the court? Mr. Gray, if you can see and hear me, I need you to raise your right hand. Well, we're not getting off to a very good start today. All right, Mr. Parrish, I'm going to move you and Mr. Gray to a breakout room and ask that you try to get his technical difficulties ironed out. Okay.
Let me see what I can do, Your Honor.
Okay. I'm going to name this room so I don't lose you. Some other people. All right, we are 0 for 3. Let's see. Who else do we have?
Still better than the Rangers, Judge.
Still better than the Rangers. I see a dash Moore, and I know that you filed a motion to withdraw that yesterday. Who is Mr. Moore's attorney? Anyone know off the top of
That's Jeffrey White, Judge.
why? JY. Let's see if Mr. White's ready. Good morning, Mr. Moore. How are you, sir?
Good morning. I'm good.
Okay, we're waiting for your attorney, Mr. White, to join us. He's getting connected right now.
Okay.
I'm not sure that Mr. White's going to be able to get connected, so let's just go ahead and move forward. Ms. Heisel, Mr. Woodwike are prosecutors for the state. And state, is it true, and it is court's recollection that yesterday the court viewed a motion to withdraw the motion to revoke? Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
And the court, and that was to withdraw the motion to revoke and continue Mr. Moore on community supervision. Is that correct?
Judge, I believe it's to terminate. Mr. Moore's probation was completed about a year ago. The motion to revoke was filed about 18 months ago, and it was just recently set. And that was most of the reason why we agreed to just withdraw and terminate, is because I do believe he completed most of his probation requirements, and then it just took 18 months for him to get on the docket for whatever reason. I don't believe of any fault on Mr. Moore's behalf. So we did agree with Mr. White that we should just terminate this, call good enough, and leave it alone at this time.
So he is terminated?
I believe, other than this pending motion to revoke, I do believe his probation term has ended.
Let me just take a moment and confirm that. All right, that is correct. Thank you, Mr. Woodwike. All right, Mr. Moore, the court filed, or I'm sorry, the court signed the order on the state's motion to terminate, to withdraw your motion to adjudicate and to terminate your community supervision. And at this time, state, is there anything else pending for Mr. Moore before this court?
I do not believe so, Judge.
All right, Mr. Moore, you are free to go. If you have any questions, follow up with your attorney, Mr. White.
Okay, thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Looks like Mr. White's not connected to video or audio, so we're going to have to move on. I'm going to call that over a half, or over a half, or over 3.5 rather. It is hard to tell who is in here and who is not. Good morning, Mr. Schmidt. How are you, sir?
Morning, Judge.
And you have Austin Rivers Harris with you.
I do, Your Honor.
All right, and this is cause number CR 21-1, State of Texas versus Austin Rivers Harris. And is it my understanding that we will be conducting a plea agreement today?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Harris, if you will raise your right hand, I'm going to place you under oath. Mr. Harris, do you swear that the testimony you give to the court today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you may put your hand down. And it appears that Mr. Harris was originally charged with a third-degree felony offense of evading arrest or detention with a vehicle. And the plea agreement today is for a reckless driving. Is that correct?
It is, Your Honor, and that's actually filed in a separate information that, yes, sir.
Okay, and that's going to be dismissal of the evading with the information being filed on the reckless driving.
Yes, sir.
And remind me what the range of punishment is on a reckless. This is
It's a hybrid, Judge. It's anywhere from 0 to 30 days and up to a $500 fine.
thank you. And the proposed plea today is that Mr. Harris, in exchange for that, in the plea agreement where the evading arrest is going to be dismissed, he's going to plead guilty to reckless driving. He's going to be convicted of that offense, pay a $500 fine, court costs of $270, and reimbursement fees of $15. Is that correct?
Exactly, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Harris, are you a United States citizen?
I am.
Do you read, write, and speak English?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever been diagnosed with any type of mental condition?
No, sir.
In this case, you're represented by your attorney, Mr. Brian Schmidt. Do you feel like you've had enough time to discuss your case with him and have all of your legal questions answered?
Yes, sir.
Are you pleased with his representation of you?
Yes, sir.
Is there anything about this plea agreement, including the documents that you have read and signed, that you do not understand?
No, sir.
Mr. Harris, an information has been filed charging you with the misdemeanor offense of reckless driving. Reckless driving carries a range of punishment of up to 30 days confinement in the county jail and a $500 fine, and a fine not to exceed $500. Do you understand that full range of punishment?
I do.
And you heard me state what the plea agreement was between you and the state, that you're going to plead guilty to this offense, that you're going to be convicted of it, that you're going to pay a $500 fine, your $270 court cost, and a $15 reimbursement fee, and the state's recommending that the court dismiss the evading arrest or detention with a vehicle. Is that your understanding of the plea agreement and what you want the court to approve today?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Schmidt, do you believe Mr. Harris to be competent today?
I do, Your Honor.
I mean, you've explained to him all of his legal and constitutional rights.
I have, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Harris, to the charge of reckless driving, how do you plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
And Mr. Harris, are you pleading guilty because you are guilty of committing that offense and for no other reason?
Yes.
Has anyone threatened you, forced you, or pressured you to plead guilty to this offense today?
No, sir.
The court will accept Mr. Harris's plea of guilt. Mr. Schmidt, any objection to the offer of states one stipulation of evidence?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, the court admits the stipulation of evidence. Anything further from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Anything further from the defense, Mr. Schmidt?
No, sir.
All right, Mr. Harris, based on the court's review of the evidence, the court does find that there is sufficient evidence to convict you of the offense of reckless driving. The court will follow the plea agreement you've reached with the state of Texas. Court hereby convicts you of the offense of reckless driving, assesses your punishment at $500 fine, 0 days in the county jail. The court orders you to pay court costs of $270 and orders you to pay reimbursement fees of $15. Court this day is signing the order granting the dismissal and cause number CR 2166 for the offense of evading arrest or detention with a motor vehicle. And Mr. Schmidt, is your client taking care of his financial obligations today, or what's the arrangement?
Judge, I'm here with his family. We're going to discuss that, whether they take care of it today. If not, we're right next to Ms. LaPre's office, and they'll set up a payment plan with her. But I'm not sure how they intend. I told them both of the potential options, and so.
I would encourage him to pay everything today so that when he walks out of here, he doesn't have to worry about being rearrested again for failure to maintain a financial payment plan. Because failure to pay those fines and court costs and reimbursement fees would result in the court issuing a warrant for his arrest.
Yes, sir.
All right, if there's nothing further, Mr. Harris, you're hereby remanded to the custody of the Van Zandt County Sheriff so he can carry out the terms and conditions of the sentence. And I've got your paperwork in here whenever court staff wants to pick that up.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Schmidt.
May we be excused?
Yes. All right, let's see who else we have. Mr. Kimmerling and Mr. Mitch Adams. Morning, Mr. Adams.
Morning, Your Honor.
I'm trying to bring in your client, Tristan Kimmerling. Give him just a moment, let him connect to audio.
Sure. told Daniel what kind of signage you want? Michael.
All right, Mr.
Can you hear
Kim,
me?
can you hear and see the court okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, can you get your phone real still? Maybe can you move to where you're more lit so I can see your face? Right now, all I see is the light. in your-
Yes, sir. Can you see me now?
Yes, yes, sir. Thank you. That's better. All right. We're on the record now. CR 2293, State versus Tristan Michael Kimmerling. And Mr. Adams, we are set for pre-trial today. Any announcements?
Your Honor, I've received the state's discovery in this case. I don't think I have a plea offer yet from the DA's office. I've not had any contact with Mr. Kimmerling since I was appointed in December. I did speak with either his mother or his grandmother yesterday, but I don't have a current phone number for him. What I'd like is to have this pretrial hearing reset for a period of time to give me the opportunity, give him the opportunity to meet with me so that we can talk about his situation and consider a plea offer from the DA's office.
Mr. Adams, would that reset, and do you need that reset to file any pretrial motions, motion to quash, motion to suppress, or would setting it for docket call be sufficient?
No, I'd like another pretrial setting, Your Honor.
And what's the basis of the request? Do you not have all the discovery from the state, or you need Mr. Kimmerling to review the discovery with you so you can determine whether there are any legal issues?
I need the opportunity to review the discovery with Mr. Kimmerling.
State, do you have any objection?
No, Your Honor. I believe that case is assigned to Mr. Woodwike, and we will make sure one or the other of us will get an offer to Mr. Adams before the next pretrial.
All right, give me just a moment here. I'm going to look at my calendar. And Mr. Adams, how long are you requesting?
A month.
All right, the court will reset Mr. Kimmerling for an additional pretrial hearing on February 25th at 9 a.m. via Zoom. Mr. Kimmerling, this will be the only notice that you get from the court of your setting. Since you're not in court, I cannot provide you a hard copy reset notice. So your order to appear in this court
Yes, sir.
on February 25th at 9 a.m. You can contact your bondsman or your attorney for the Zoom ID number. When's the last time you talked with your bondsman, Mr. Kimmerling?
I haven't talked to them in a while. I've been checking in online.
I'm going to encourage you to check in with them today because I think they're concerned about you.
Yes, sir.
So if you don't check in with them today, I think that they're going to ask the court to issue a warrant for your arrest.
Yes, sir.
You understand? All right.
Yes, sir.
What date are you going to be back via Zoom? What date did I tell you you're going to be back? February
The 25th.
at 9 a.m.
25th.
All right, Mr. Kimmerling, you're free to go.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Adams, you also have a Chenille Tillman. Let me see if that individual is. Good morning, Ms. Tillman. Can you see and hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. All right. Can you see your attorney too, Mr. Adams, on your screen?
No, sir.
You may have to swipe left or right to see additional views on your phone, but Mr. Adams is here with us as well. Say good morning, Mr. Adams.
Good morning, Ms. Tillman.
Good morning.
All right, Mr. Adams, we are set. This is cause number CR 20315, CR 2316, State versus Chanel Monique Tillman. We're set for pretrial on each one of her causes. Go ahead, Mr. Adams.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I anticipate that there may be a pretrial issue that I need to bring up with the court, but in order for me to confirm or deny that, I'm going to need to get a copy of the what I suspect exists of video footage in this matter. I don't yet have it from the DA's office. I've received a couple of 3 emails in the last week or so from the DA's office from Ms. Edwards over there advising me that there's discovery waiting for me to pick up. That may be a part of it, and I intend to pick up whatever's there for me this afternoon. And so the short version of what I've just said is I'd like to have the pretrial hearing reset to give me the time to review that video footage that I don't yet have to confirm or deny a pretrial issue that I think may exist.
Any objection from the state?
No, Your Honor.
All right, and do we know when the video is going to be made available for Mr. Adams?
Judge, I know Ms. Edwards is on top of that, and if he's already requested that process, I'm sure it'll be short, but I will follow up with her and make sure that that is made available post haste.
All right, court sets Ms. Tillman to appear in this court again via Zoom on February 25th. Ms. Tillman, your attorney, Mr. Adams, will have the Zoom ID number for our next setting. Do you understand? You're muted again. Let me help you. Well, let me help you again.
Yes, sir.
All right, so this will be the only notice that you get from the court. Your failure to appear via Zoom on the 25th may result in the court issuing a warrant for your arrest, okay?
Okay.
All right, you're free to go, Ms. Tillman. Stay in contact with your attorney.
Thank you.
Mr. Adams, is that all you have today?
That's all I have this morning, Your Honor, and I will be in the Van Zandt County Jail for the docket this afternoon. I need to speak with somebody face to face.
Okay, we'll see you this afternoon.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. Good to see you.
Appreciate it. Good to see you.
And Judge, I believe I missed that. Did we reset Ms. Tillman to the 25th as well?
Yes, ma'am. All right, I believe Miss Beasley, I've seen Miss Beasley and her client, Mr. Stephen Flores. Good morning, Miss Beasley. Can you see and hear me okay?
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning. All right, let me get Mr. Flores to unmute.
Hello?
All right, good morning, Mr. Flores. Can you see and hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, and your attorney, Miss Beasley, is also present in court this morning. Can you see and hear Miss Beasley? Say good morning, Miss Beasley.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. This is cause number CR 20211, State versus Stephen Flores for docket call today. Miss Beasley, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Judge, we need a reset. Ms. Heisel and I still need to confer about this case. We both believe we're going to be able to get it resolved with a plea. We just need a little bit more time to get that plea finalized and worked out.
Judge, that's correct. And Ms. Beasley asked to come in and meet with me in person on this. Obviously, with my COVID diagnosis, that did not happen. And so we would not be opposed to a reset on this to try to work this one out.
And how much time do you ladies think you need?
Judge, I'm probably not going to be in a place where I can meet in person, but if we had a standard reset of 30 days, I'm confident that Ms. Beasley and I can either get on Zoom or on the phone and perhaps resolve this one.
Ms. Beasley, are you available on Thursday, February 25th?
The 25th, Judge?
Correct.
I am in the morning. Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Flores, you're ordered to be back in this court via Zoom on February 25th at 9 a.m. for docket call. If your case gets resolved, we may have you come into court, but we'll contact you later and let you know that. And until that time, you're to appear via Zoom, and your attorney, Ms. Beasley, will have the Zoom information for you.
All righty.
All right, so Mr. Beasley, Flores, you're free to go.
May I be excused, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am. Do you have anything this afternoon, Ms. Beasley?
Yes, sir. I have 2 pleas set that I'm working on the plea papers right now.
Okay, good. Thank you. We'll see you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Mr. Parrish, any update? Mr. Gray?
Your Honor, are you able
Yes.
to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Were you able to get his?
I left him and,
Is
Your
he?
Honor, his cases have still not been indicted over in Gregg County. He is still sitting in the breakout room. If you wanted to pull him in, I just didn't want him to click on anything.
Did you get
So
his?
I was scared he was gonna disconnect.
Did you get his technical issues worked out?
Yes.
Okay, let me bring him in. All right, Mr. Gray, I'm sending you a prompt. Here you go. Can you see and hear us okay, Mr. Gray?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is cause number CR 18312, State versus David Lee Gray. We're set on the motion to revoke. Go ahead with your announcement. You started, Mr. Parrish.
Your Honor, we're not ready to proceed. I with Ms. Heisel through email, and I apologize. Ms. Heisel's got a COVID diagnosis. I just recovered from that myself. It's not a lot of fun. But anyhow, I checked with Gregg County. There's no movement over in that office with his case. There's no indictment. Things are running a little bit differently over there right now for some reason, but there's just no movement on his case over in Gregg County. I would ask for a reset. I don't know what Ms. Heisel's thoughts are with respect to the motion at this time.
Judge, if we could just go ahead and set this for a contested day. I believe that Mr. Parrish and I can probably talk in the meantime and figure out how to proceed. Maybe dropping the allegation involving the Gregg County case, but we obviously don't want to be held hostage to their timeline to resolve our case. So let's, just for the efficiency of the court, go ahead and set it on a contested docket, and then hopefully Mr. Parrish and I can work it out before that date.
All right, the court will.
Your Honor, I don't have any objections to doing that. I think the court has been more than patient with the situation. And I don't have any objection to doing what Ms. Heisel is suggesting.
Okay. All right, the court will then set Mr. Gray for a contested hearing on his motion to revoke on February 25th at 9 a.m. And that will in all likelihood be, unless the case is resolved. Right now, I'm supposed to order that everyone appear via Zoom. However, if there's going to be a potential of Mr. Gray going into custody that day, then Mr. Gray, what I'm going to do is I'm going to order you to appear at the courthouse on February 25th at 9 a.m. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, sir.
And what I anticipate, counsel, is that I will have Mr. Gray across the hall in my video conference room, unless I grant an in-person hearing, and then I'll have him in the courtroom. Okay, so Mr. Gray.
Okay, Your Honor, and I assume I'll be there as well.
Okay. All right, we'll see you both then on February 25th at 9 a.m. You're free to go, Mr. Gray.
All right.
Thanks, sir.
Thank
Thank you, Mr. Parrish.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. See you soon. Let's see who else we have. All right, Mr. Murray Leader, I'm attempting Miss Delaney. Mr. White, I apologize. I clicked on you by accident, but you are up next. So be just a moment with Mr. Murray Leader, and then I'll call your clients. We'll give Miss Delaney an opportunity to connect audio here. Miss Delaney, if you can see and hear the court, will you raise your hand for me? Miss Delaney, can you see and hear me okay?
Yes, I can now.
All right, thank you, ma'am. All right, Mr. Murray Leader, are you ready to proceed in cause number CR 20-9 and 399 State versus Lindy Cherie Delaney?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, in cause number CR 20-9, the state has tendered a motion to dismiss, indicating that the defendant had paid restitution in full and asking for dismissal in this case. Is that correct, state?
Yes, Your Honor. Sorry, my unmute wasn't working.
That's all right. And has Miss Delaney, was there any agreement with regard to her attorney fees for Mr. Murray Leader's services for the county?
Your Honor, there was no formal agreement. However, I do believe it was discussed. I will defer to Mr. Murray Leader on an update on.
Judge, I've informed Ms. Delaney that she needed to pay her dues to Van County. She mentioned to me this morning that she is paying in installments. I'm unsure of how much of that is left, but with the outstanding case of CR 20-00399, I'm not going to submit my fee voucher until I have all of her cases complete. Whatever pending cases she might have.
Okay. All right. The court is granting the motion to dismiss, and CR 29 has signed the order of dismissal. In cause number CR 2399, Ms. Delaney is charged with manufacture or delivery of a controlled substance in penalty group 1, greater than or equal to 1 gram but less than 4 grams, a second-degree felony, which carries a range of punishment of 2 years to 20 years. We're set for arraignment today. Have you been over the indictment with your client?
Yes, Your Honor, and we filed a waiver of arraignment, and you approved that on January 4th. I set it for pretrial today because Ms. Delaney was appearing today as well. for the other case.
Okay.
For this case, Your Honor, we have received the state's online discovery. However, we have not received the video discovery. But from what the state has told me, the only offer that we currently have is for prison time, and Ms. Delaney has rejected that offer. So I would feel comfortable in requesting an additional pretrial for this so that we can get the video and I can review that with Ms. Delaney and file any pretrial motions if needed.
All right, the court's going to set Miss Delaney then for pretrial in this cause on March 9th. You have any scheduling conflicts that day, Mr. Murray Leader?
No, Your Honor.
And Miss Delaney, that will be set at 9 a.m. and you're to appear via Zoom that day. And Mr. Murray Leader will have that Zoom ID for you in your order to stay in contact with him. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, and you are on conditions of pretrial release. I don't have any notes regarding my pretrial release cases today. So I'm going to encourage you to stay in contact with the pretrial release department and report and comply with all of your conditions. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're free to go. We'll see you back on March 9th.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any luck on Mr. Schroeder?
Judge, he told me he was on there.
Okay,
Do you see him on there at all?
I think I do. All right, Mr. Murleader, I'm going to move you and Mr. Schroeder over to a breakout room and you can deal with whatever circus is going on with him.
Yes, Judge.
You'll let him know he'll need to take those sunglasses off when he comes back. Good morning, Mr. White. How are you, sir? Let me get you unmuted there.
I believe we're unmuted now.
I believe we're unmuted now too. All right, let's see. Who do you have today that's with us? You got Stephen Slayton. I've seen Stephen Slayton. Let me see if I can bring him in. He's not connected to audio yet. We'll give him just a moment. Let his device connect. While Mr. Slayton's trying to figure out his audio, I'm going to try to bring in Mrs. Sorrells.
My apologies, sir. I was in. I was trying to.
I understand. I'll call your case in just a minute. I believe we're about to have Mr. Sorrells with us.
Okay, yes, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Sorrells. Can you see and hear me?
Good morning. Yes, I can see you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can see and I can hear you. I have also in our hearing today the state of Texas and your attorney, Mr. Nolan White. Can you see Mr. White?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Mr. White, this is cause number CR 290 State versus Dustin Sorrells, and we were set for a plea today. Are we pleading Mr. Sorrells out today?
Your Honor, we're gonna plea him, but I'd forgotten about that. I needed to get him in here and get the paperwork done probably last week. So we're gonna have to ask the court for another date.
Plea to time or to probation?
Probation, Your Honor.
Probation.
Judge, Mr. White talked to me yesterday and did say that because of not being able to meet in person, he would like some time to be able to get those conditions of probation and things ahead of time so that he can meet with his client in his office prior to the plea. We have no objection to that.
Mr. White, do you have any conflicts with February 11th? That's a Thursday.
Let me check real quick, Your Honor, but off the top of my head, no, sir.
Okay.
I'm already going to be before you that day, so I think we'll be okay.
All right, Mr. Sorrells, the court's going to reset your case to enter your plea agreement on February 11th at 9 a.m. and you will appear. I want you to go ahead and appear in the courthouse that day so that I can get a fingerprint. You'll just report to the courtroom and you'll be guided to the video conference room. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You're free to go, Mr. Sorrells. February 11th, 9 a.m.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Slayton, can you see and hear us now?
Can see Mr. White. Do I need to swipe over to get to you? Let me see.
No, that's okay. You don't need to see me.
Okay.
As long as you
Okay.
can hear me, it's better that you see Mr. White.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
This is cause number CR 20194, State versus Stephen Kyle Slayton. We're set for docket call today. Mr. White, go ahead.
Your Honor, I spoke with Ms. Heisel on Mr. Slayton's case. Mr. Slayton's got a couple of matters that are out of county. I'm trying to kind of figure out where we're going to be on those. So I'm not handling those matters. One of them is a similar charge to what we have here. I'm going to ask the court to reset it for docket call so we can kind of get some understanding of exactly what's possibly going to happen.
State.
No objection, Your Honor. Mr. White is talking to me about coordinating all of the various charges. I believe that there will be movement on that once we figure out kind of what the game plan is.
Okay, the court will set Mr. Slayton then for docket call also on February 11th at 9 a.m. And Mr. Slayton, Mr. White will have that Zoom ID number for you.
Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. February 11th, 9 a.m.
Your Honor, may I real quick?
On Zoom.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. White.
Mr. Slayton, Steve, just hang tight. I need to talk with you, so I'm going to call you when I get done here. I've got one more case, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Slayton, you're free to go.
Okay. Thank y'all.
Mr. White, I think you have Melba Kennedy.
That's correct, Your Honor.
I'm not sure that I've seen a Melba Kennedy in my waiting room. Oh, yes, there she is. while we're waiting on Ms. Kennedy, Mr. Murleader, are you ready on Mr. Schroeder?
Yes, Judge.
All right, court calls CR 2310, State versus Dylan, Andrew Schroeder, and we're set for pretrial today. Go ahead, Mr. Murleader.
Judge, we've received all the discovery from the state. However, we have not received an offer from the state. I don't have any pretrial issues in this case. In addition to this case, Your Honor, he's also charged with an unindicted charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, the same level of charge as the indicted charge. Judge, I would like to have both cases resolved before the court. If I can, I'd like a chance to review that with Ms. Heisel if I get a chance.
Is that an indicted case?
No, Your Honor, it's an unindicted case.
Okay, all right. All right, the court will set this then for docket call. And I will set this in March to give you some time to try to get the unindicted case resolved as well. I've already set you on March 9th. Let's go ahead and we'll set Mr. Schroeder then on March 9th as well.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So Mr. Schroeder, you're ordered to appear via Zoom with the court again on March 9th at 9 a.m. Mr. Murleader will have the Zoom ID number. Do you understand?
Yes, sir, Mr. Martin.
All right, and you need to also be reporting to your pretrial release officer and obeying all conditions of pretrial release. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, we'll see you back on March 9th. You're free to go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does that conclude your business?
Yes, Judge, that concludes my business with the court. May I be excused?
Yes, sir. Thank you this morning. Appreciate it.
Judge.
Ms. Kennedy, can you see and hear the court okay this morning?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, this is cause numbers CR 1959, CR 2171, State versus Melba Renee Kennedy. I believe that we're set on a motion to adjudicate hearing on one case and pretrial on the other. Mr. White, go ahead.
That's correct, Your Honor. We also got a newly indicted case. I'm going to be handling that as well. And I believe the court signed there was an after indictment warrant, and Mr. Woodwick and I believe sent an order over to you yesterday with the bond being set. I think there may have already been a bond set on it, but I just wanted to make sure that when we started trying to get ourselves turned in, we didn't run into a problem.
I believe was the recommended bail like 35,000. Is it that case? I think I remember seeing one like that.
We had ended up agreeing to a $10,000 bond, Your Honor.
Judge, that's my understanding as well as 10,000.
Okay, I'll have to look to see. I remember seeing one, but it might not have been on Miss Kennedy's case.
Judge, it was Mr. Slayton that we agreed to 35,000 on. You signed it yesterday.
Okay, I'm not sure that I've seen Miss Kennedy's then.
And we thought that there may have already been a recommended bond on it, but I didn't want to get out to the jail and then just run into problems because it wasn't entered in or something on their end.
I can have my staff. Did y'all email it or e-file it, or how did it get here?
I sent it over to Mr. Woodwick. After that, I don't know what happened to it.
Judge, because I'm home quarantined from COVID, I sent it to my office. They said they would sign it and bring it to you. I'm not sure how it got presented to the court either. I will check into that and make sure that it gets before you as soon as possible.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I've seen that yet. So, so the agreement is $10,000 bail on the new charge?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
If that's the agreement, then upon seeing it, the court will sign that.
And we'll get her turned in, and I'm obviously going to need a pretrial on that, Your Honor. We can go ahead and waive during that proceeding if the court wants to, or if you want me to file a waiver, I'll do that as well.
Let me look up her case real quick, and we could just arraign her today and put them all together if you want to do that.
That's fine, Your Honor.
You don't know that number off the top of your head, do you, Mr. White?
No, sir, I don't. I'm
That's
sorry.
all right. I'll tell you what, we'll just hold off on that until she gets arrested and.
Okay.
All right, so what we need to do then is we'll just set this again for an additional pretrial so that we can run these cases together. We'll set this on March 9th. Do you have any scheduling issues that day, Mr. White?
I don't believe I do, Your Honor. Let me make sure, though. I think I'm actually in your court that day, so yes, I do have scheduling issues.
Okay.
Because I'm in your court.
Oh, you're in my court. Well,
No,
I'll.
we're good.
Okay. All right, we'll set Ms. Kennedy, then you're set to be back in this court on March 9th at 9 a.m. Do you understand?
Sure.
And this will be the only notice that you get, your failure to appear on March 9th, and that will be via Zoom as well. And Mr. White will have that Zoom ID number for you. So stay in contact with him and make sure that you're reporting to your pretrial release officer as well, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, you're free to go.
Very quickly, Your
Thank you.
Honor, Ms. Kennedy, please stay near your phone. I need to call you.
I will do that, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does that conclude your business, Mr. White?
Till this afternoon, Your Honor, I got two jail cases. I got a plea, and Jeff and I are co-counsel on another one. I don't know how that works with your Zoom, but I'll be the one doing the talking on that.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I'll see you this afternoon, Judge.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hey,
Bye-bye.
Nolan,
Yes.
my office says they sent you that signed agreed bond. So if you want to look in your email, it's probably there, and then you can just e-file it and have Judge sign it.
I will. I'll get right on that. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Schmidt. Can you see and hear me okay? I believe you're muted, sir. Good morning, Ms. Joyner. Can you see and hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, we're going to get Mr. Schmidt online here. Mr. Schmidt still can't hear you.
He's saying.
I think possibly check your selection on your microphone, whether it's an internal or external. You may have to change that setting in your Zoom. I've run into that problem before.
Even though I muted mine, I had to turn my volume back up.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Okay, now you've done something, Mr. Schmidt. I think you're here now. Say something.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, thank you.
Just because we're all curious, what was the problem?
The privacy settings on the computer had it shut off.
Okay, good, because that may, if I run into that with someone else, that's what I want to tell them. Okay. All right, this is cause number CR 2127, State versus Alicia Renee Joyner. We're set for docket call. Go ahead, Mr. Schmidt.
Judge, we are set for docket call. We received the plea offer from the state. Ms. Joyner is aware of the plea offer, and we would reject that and ask the court to set us on the trial docket.
All right, and Mr. Joyner understands that a rejection of the state's offer and passing docket call means that the court may not entertain plea agreements going forward.
Yes, sir.
You understand that, Ms. Joyner?
Yes, sir.
So even if the state decides they want to make a better offer later, want to accept that same offer, the court may not allow you to do that.
Yes, sir.
All right, the court will place Ms. Joyner on the jury selection docket beginning March 1st. Ms. Joyner, you will need to appear via Zoom on March 1st. And you'll need to contact my court coordinator for the Zoom ID number
Okay.
prior to March 1st. And then you check in and you'll be given additional instructions by my staff at that time. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Make sure that you continue to report to your bondsman and also your pretrial release officer.
That's what I was going to say. I've called Carl Waddell. Is that his name? And he hasn't called me back. And I didn't know what to do since we were doing court Zoom, and you normally have to report with him before court. So
Just continue to call Mr. Waddell. The Adult Community Supervision Department is involved in this hearing today, so they're watching and listening. So just continue to stay in contact with Mr. Waddell. And
okay.
Your attorney and Mr. Nicholas with your bondsman, okay?
Sure.
All right. So on March 1st, Mr. Schmidt will be able to give you that Zoom ID number as well if you need it. Otherwise, you can contact the court a few days before March 1st. We'll see you back on that date.
All right. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. You're free to go. Mr. Schmidt, do I understand that you have clients with you in your office?
I do. I have Mr. Bill Adams here with me. Mr. Bill, come here.
All right, this is cause number CR 2283, State versus Bill Hardy Adams Jr. And we're set for pretrial today. Go ahead, Mr. Schmidt.
That's correct, Judge. At this point in time, we reviewed the discovery. We don't have any contested pretrial motions. It has to be set for a docket call.
All right, court will set Mr. Adams for docket call. Let me look at my calendar here. On March 9th at 9 a.m. via Zoom.
Thank you, Judge. All right, that's the only notice you're going to do. So, see you there. Well, thank you. Yeah, have a good day.
Do you have anyone else there with you, Mr. Schmidt?
Not currently, Judge. I did speak to Skylar Tanner. Mr. Tanner is trying to get his Zoom to work, and he cannot. I've invited him to come up to my office, and he's trying to find a ride to get here. So currently, he's not available.
Okay.
Mr. Rigney's online now.
Okay, I think I do see him. Let me attempt to bring him. Good morning, Mr. Rigney. Can you see and hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and can you see and hear your attorney, Mr. Schmidt?
I cannot see Mr. Schmidt.
Can't see me?
If you're on your mobile device or tablet, you may have to move left or right on your screen to see additional individuals.
Okay, I see him.
Okay. All right. This is cause number CR 2307, State versus John Brendan Rigney, set for pretrial. Go ahead, Mr. Schmidt.
Judge, we are set for pretrial. I'm going to ask the court for an additional pretrial setting. Prior to Mr. Cox's leaving, we were in the middle of discussing some additional evidence. I haven't had an opportunity to discuss that with Ms. Heisel or Mr. Woodwike yet, but it requires us to provide the DA's office with some consent to go through some seized electronic devices. I believe it's going to take a minute. The delay is not the fault of the DA's office. It's my fault, but we'd ask for an additional pretrial hearing so that we can get that done.
Any objection from the state?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right, court sets Mr. Rigney then for an additional pretrial hearing on March 9th at 9 a.m. via Zoom. So, Mr. Rigney, this will be the only notice that you get. You'll appear via Zoom again on March 9th. And Mr. Schmidt will have that Zoom ID number for you. If you're not able to get that from Mr. Schmidt, then you can contact our court.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you're free to go, Mr. Rigney.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. All right, Mr. Schmidt, I think that leaves you just with Skylar Tanner.
That's correct, Judge. And we're set for a pretrial this morning. I do know my announcement would be that we don't have any contested pretrial. I suppose what I can do is log off and see if Mr. Tanner can get himself together. I'm not certain what his status is. I know he was trying to get here, but
Okay.
I have spoken with him this morning.
Okay, yeah, just log back in when he gets here, and if he's not going to make it, then just let me know.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Have a good day.
You too. Just one moment. All right, good morning, Mr. White. Let's see, what clients do you have? Do you have any clients with you today?
I have Steve Stamps with me.
Okay.
He's as technology deficient as I am, so he thought he made the correct move by coming to my office.
All right, this is cause number CR 2272, State versus Stephen Wade Stance. We're set for docket call. Go ahead, Mr. White.
Your Honor, I believe that we would have an agreed pass on this for the state to confirm some information.
State.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that, Judge. What did Mr. White say?
Mr. White said that he believes that there would be an agreed pass for the state to confirm some information.
That is correct, Judge. Mr. White and I spoke about this case yesterday. I just wanted to be sure that that's what he said.
And how long will it take to confirm this information?
Judge, if we could have a couple of weeks, I think that would be sufficient. I think March 11th was discussed. That would be more than enough time, I believe.
March 11th wouldn't be a problem for me.
Do we need that much time? That's closer to 60 days in a couple weeks.
I'm sorry, Judge. I was, I think sometime in February would be fine. For whatever reason in my head, it was already February.
Well, we're close, but I'm just looking over the calendar real quick. All right, we're going to set this for February 11th for a docket call. That's a couple of weeks.
That should be fine, Judge. I think that's what I meant before I got my months mixed up because, 2021.
There you go, 2021. All right, so Mr. Stamps, your order to reappear via Zoom on March 11th. Mr. White will have your Zoom ID. If you're unable to get it from him, then you can contact the court, okay?
February 11th, correct?
February 11th, 2/11, at 9 a.m. All right, so Mr. Stamps, you're free to go.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. White, the court already handled Mr. Moore. When you were having your technical difficulties this morning, we went ahead and brought Mr. Moore in, and I gave him information on the motion to withdraw and told him he was free to go.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
So that one's resolved. And let's see who else you have. Let's see, we may have, here's Marcus Fowler's online. Let me bring in Mr. Fowler. All right, Mr. Fowler, if you'll unmute your device, please.
Can you hear it now?
Yes, I can hear you and I can see you. Can you see and hear me?
Yes, sir.
And can you see your attorney, Mr. White?
No, sir.
Okay, he's present in the courtroom with us. You may have to move left or right on your device to see him. Mr. White, this is cause number CR 20159 and 160, State versus Marcus Anthony Fowler, and we're set for docket call on each one of his cases. Go ahead.
Your Honor, I would ask for another 30 days for me to have an opportunity to speak with Ms. Heisel on this case. This was Mr. Parks's case. We did not have a whole lot of negotiations before he left. And if I could have an opportunity to speak with Ms. Heisel, I don't believe I've ever spoke with her on this case before.
Any objection from the state?
No, Your Honor.
All right, the court will set this for docket call on March 9th at 9 a.m. Mr. Fowler, your order to appear via Zoom again that day. Mr. White will have the Zoom ID number for you. If you cannot get it from him, you can get it from the court, and you need to continue to report to your pre-trial release officer and stay in contact with your bondsman.
Yes, sir.
All right, so you are free to go.
All right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Let's see who else we have here for Mr. White. Here's Cynthia Kane.
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right, we have you now.
Okay, thanks.
What's your name, sir?
My name is Shane Kane. I'm
Shane.
Cindy's.
Hey, I appreciate your help today. Thank you for helping us out.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Kane, can you see Mr. Jeff White, your attorney? If you're on your device, you may have to move left or right to see Mr. White.
No.
Okay, well, Mr. White, go ahead and announce your presence.
All right, I'm here, Ms. Kane.
There we go. Okay.
I found
All right.
you.
Okay, good. All right, this is cause number CR 20-282, Cynthia Sizemore Kane. We're set for a pretrial today. Go ahead, Mr. White.
Your Honor, I don't believe there's any opposition to the 3 normal motions that I've filed in this particular case. And I think that there's an opportunity for me and Mr. Woodwick to be able to discuss this before the next docket.
Judge, that's my understanding. I've reviewed Mr. White's motions. They are his standard motions. We have no objection to those at this time. If we could just have this separate docket call, I believe that Mr. White and I can work this case out.
Okay. All right, then the court will grant the pretrial motion since they're agreed. And we will set Ms. Kane then for a docket call hearing on March 9th at 9 a.m. And Ms. Kane, you will appear via Zoom again that day. And Mr. White will have that Zoom ID number for you. You can also contact my court for that Zoom ID, okay?
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Kane, just make sure that you are reporting to your pretrial release officer and stay in contact with your bondsman and your attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, Ms. Kane, you're free to go. And Mr. Kane, thank you again for your help today, sir. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. White, I believe that takes care of your morning docket. Do you have anything this afternoon?
I have one case with Nolan White this afternoon.
Oh, yes. He told me earlier that you'd be doing all the talking on that case. That's what he, so prepare for that.
Okay.
He said something about some stellar legal argument. You're going to knock my socks off. He told me to bring popcorn. It was a whole thing. So I'm excited and looking forward to it.
Well, sometimes he sets his expectations a little bit high.
We'll see you this afternoon.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now, one day, excuse me, probably Friday,
Mhm,
you call me when you have time,
mhm.
and we
Ms.
will do-
Abraham, Ms. Abraham, you'll need to close your device.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Manning, do you have your client with you?
No, Judge. My announcement on him is I believe he is still in custody. I have not been able to get any verification that he's been released. And so I would ask that he be reset for the March 9th setting where I have those other cases set.
Okay, I don't see him logged in at this time. Remind me, I thought he may still be in custody. Where was he at last setting?
I believe Arkansas was last check.
Okay. And you were asking for a setting when?
March 9th.
All right, the court's going to determine if he is still in custody. If he is, then the court will grant the March 9th status conference. If he is not in custody, then the court will enter a judgment ISI and alias KPS.
Yes, Judge.
All right, and let's see, who else do you have? You have Rochelle Shelton, and I believe that there was a waiver of arraignment e-filed, and court will approve that and set Miss Shelton. I'm not sure if we can accommodate your request was 218. We may be full on the day. Let me look.
Okay, that was the date that the court had given me, but if we need to change that, we can move that to the 9th as well.
No, that is correct. That is a good day. So we will set then Miss Shelton for pretrial on 2/18.
And Judge, just for the court's information, I looked in Justice Solutions on Mr. Johnny Jude Cooper, and it does show that our warrants are still active for him. So wherever he is, there should be a hold for him on our charges.
Okay, good. Thank you for doing that, Ms. Haswell. I appreciate that. All right, Mr. Manning, that's all of your cases?
I believe that has concluded my cases with you, Judge.
Do you have anything this afternoon?
No, Judge.
Okay, good. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Frank Hughes, Robert Kane. Michael Rosner, Eric Blatt. Good morning, Mr. Platten. Can you see and hear me okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, we're letting Mr. Reisner get connected here. Mr. Reisner, can you see and hear us okay? I think Mr. Reisner is not connected to audio yet. All right, Mr. Platten, I'm going to move you and Mr. Reisner to a breakout room so y'all can try to get that figured out. And as soon as you do, just rejoin with me. Okay?
Mr. Reisner, are you ready?
I don't think he can hear us.
Yeah, because I've got to see some evidence at 11. I can text him right here.
Good morning, Mr. Sanders. Can you see and hear me okay?
Yes, I can, Your Honor.
All right, and it looks like you have Mr. Skinner with you. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, this is cause number CR 20226 and CR 265, State versus Travis Skinner, set for docket call today. Go ahead, Mr. Sanders.
Yes, Your Honor. Judge, we don't have a plea agreement on this case. Judge, I would ask if we could pass it to have one more docket call. There were a couple other matters I need to talk to the state about. And there might be another video or another recording that we don't have that I need to talk with Ms. Heisel about. If we could set it for, I don't know, 3 weeks or 30 days or something like that, then we'd appreciate that.
Any objection from the state?
No, Your Honor, and just so the court is aware, the victim in this case has made an additional outcry. I have provided that information to Mr. Sanders, but that has happened in the last 2 weeks. So there is new information still coming in on this case, and that's why we're agreeing to push out the docket call and continue to work on this case.
Okay. The court will then set Mr. Travis Skinner for an additional docket call in each one of his causes to February 18th at 9 a.m. with Mr. Skinner to appear via Zoom unless otherwise ordered by the court. And Mr. Sanders, my coordinators will have the Zoom ID for you to relay to your clients.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Judge.
And let me see, Mr. Vela, I believe, is in the waiting room. Mr. Sanders, if you're ready for him.
Yes. Yes.
Good morning, Mr. Vela. Can you see and hear me okay? Looks like he may be getting connected to audio still. Appreciate your patience this morning, Mr. Sanders.
That's fine, Judge.
While Mr. Vela is connecting to audio, if you ever going to have a client appear with you, go ahead and let Ms. Taberham know. She'll let me know, and then I'll be looking for him in the waiting room, because a lot of times what I do is I look for the attorney and I look to see what other clients are in the waiting room.
Okay. Okay.
And so sometimes I don't bring you in until I see your client.
Okay. Gotcha.
I know they're with you. I'll bring you in quicker because I know I'm getting 2 for 1.
Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Vela. I'm going to ask you to unmute your device. I just sent you a prompt. If you'll click OK.
Yes, sir.
Good morning. Can you see and hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. And your attorney, Mr. Jeff Sanders, is with us as well. Can you see him?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Mr. Vela is set for docket call today. Number CR 20-143, CR 20-272. Go ahead, Mr. Sanders.
And Judge, we were going to ask if we could reset it for one more docket call. I've been talking with Mr. Woodwhack, and I know Mr. Cox had the case previously, and I think we're getting closer where we can get something resolved. I was trying to get some information together, basically some character letters, things like that, from Mr. Baylor's high school to provide to the state. I think hopefully could help in reaching a resolution on this without the need to set it for a jury trial. So I was going to ask if we could set it for that same date, the February 18th, if that would work.
Any objection from the state?
Judge, I just spoke with Mr. Cox yesterday, trying to get some background on this particular case. I was able to do that. Mr. Sanders and I have been discussing this case. I do believe that if we can get it reset to another docket call, we can figure out some sort of a resolution to this case without the need for further contested hearings.
Mr. Sanders, is February 18th too soon? Do you need more time to get the information from the school?
If it would work to push it off a little bit farther, if the state's okay with that, that would be great, Judge.
Judge, I'm not opposed to a little bit further than that to give them the time to get the information they need to get together.
All right, court will then set Mr. Vela for docket call on March 11th at 9 a.m. with Mr. Vela appearing via Zoom again. And Mr. Vela, your attorney, Mr. Sanders, will have the Zoom ID number for you. You need to stay in contact with your bondsman and your pretrial release officer. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll see you back on March 11th via Zoom.
Yes, sir.
All right, you're free to go.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Sanders, does that conclude your cases this morning? Let's see, hang on. Jimmy Gibson.
Yes.
I have a note that we have verified that he is in the Kays Tower, Dallas County Jail. Is that correct?
Yes, he's been there for some time, and last I checked, he was still there. So, and
All right.
I checked, and I think Ms. Taberham had too, about the possibility of doing a Zoom hearing with Dallas County, and they weren't set up to do anything like that. So,
shocker.
We're just kind of stuck. Yes, yes.
Shocker. Yes. Okay. We'll set a status on March 11th.
Okay.
At 9 a.m. since you'll be back on that day.
Okay.
And with that, I think that resolves your morning cases. Do you have anything this afternoon?
No, I don't believe so.
All right. Enjoy your day, sir. Appreciate you.
All right. Y'all have a good day. Thanks, Judge.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'm going to try to bring Mr. right, Mr. Reisner, I prompted you to unmute.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, good. Can you see and hear me now, Mr. Reisner?
I can see and hear you. Yes, sir.
Good. Mr. Platt, I appreciate you helping me out with that. This is cause numbers CR 20139, CR 20140, State versus Michael Edward Reisner. We're set for pretrial in each case. Do you have any contested pretrial motions, Mr. Platten?
Not at this time, Your Honor. We were still waiting on discovery from the state. They were looking in to see if the law enforcement was able to determine if they had this body camera video that they were using on their table. Speaking with Ms. Heisel, she was communicating with them and hadn't heard back just yet.
Judge, I spoke with Grand Saline PD about this on the phone, and to the best of my recollection, that video is not available. However, it's been a few minutes since I talked to them, and I don't remember the particular reason why, so I am waiting on written confirmation for them that that video is either is or is not going to be available. However, I don't believe that it is going to change a lot of the outcome of this case, given that the body cam was worn during an interview, but there was also a camera in the interview room. So in the event that that is not available, I don't believe that there is anything substantial captured on that body cam that has not already been provided to the defense. But we are still working on getting a final answer for Mr. Platten on that.
Okay. What the court's going to do is I'm going to set Mr. Reisner then for docket call on March 11th. And what I'll do, Mr. Platten, is if that body cam does become available and you find the need to file some kind of contested pretrial motion, I'll go ahead and grant you leave to file that outside the statutory requirement and allow you to bring that motion.
Okay, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Reisner, you're due back before the court on March 11th at 9 a.m. via Zoom. And Mr. Platten will have that Zoom ID for you. You can always contact the court to get it as well. Do you understand?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right. It's paramount that you stay in contact with your bondsman and that you report to your pretrial release officer as ordered. Do you understand that as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. March 11th, 9 a.m. You're free to go.
Thank you.
Mr. Platten, is that all you have this morning?
I believe so.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Bye.
All right. Let's see. Harper. Let's see.
Hello.
Good morning, Mr. Harper. Can you see and hear me okay?
Yes, sir, Judge.
All right. And Mr. Harper, do you by chance have your client with you, Kyle Holland?
I do not have the client with me today. I'm at home. This is our first time and I wasn't really clear on those instructions.
Is Mr. Holland appearing via Zoom today?
I can try to locate him, Judge, and get him to appear. I didn't know
Yeah.
if this was just for the attorneys.
No, it's for the defendants as well. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put you in a breakout room.
Yes, sir.
And just go ahead and give him the Zoom ID.
Yes, sir.
And then have him log in via his phone or work or wherever he's at. And once I see him, I'll pull him in and then we'll call your case.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Good morning, Mr. Hughes. Can you see and hear me? Okay.
King, Judge, my client is in another room.
Okay.
Can we go get him and bring him in?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Judge, that you are here with me.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hughes. This is cause number CR 226, State versus Robert Paul Kane. And my docket says we are set for plea today, but I've got a suspicion that we're not pleading out this case today. Am I correct? Mr. Hughes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Judge.
Are we?
I don't believe so, Your Honor. I believe we have finished all of the paperwork completely yet.
What are we lacking? I mean, I show it was set for plea today. How come we don't have our paperwork done and before the person pleading him out?
Judge, I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know that we can't plead today, except that he's here with me and not there with you.
Well, if you haven't finished the paperwork and signed and sworn, then there's no way we can do the plea. Go ahead, Ms. Heisel.
Judge, I was just going to say, I believe that Mr. Hughes has been negotiating this plea with Ms. Curry. I don't know what the status of the plea paperwork is, other than I know I didn't ask Ms. Abney to prepare it because I was not negotiating. And if we could get another plea date set, we will make sure Ms. Abney has that paperwork to Mr. Hughes ahead of time so that he can meet with his client, get all the instructions and signatures worked out so that we have that prepared next time. And we apologize for the lapse.
Judge, as do I. I thought that the gentleman who left the DA's office there and moved down to another DA's office someplace else was who I was actually negotiating with. And I guess all the paperwork just didn't get done. And I'm sorry, I did not follow up on it.
Okay, the court's going to reset this for February 18th. That's a Thursday. Mr. Hughes, do you have any scheduling conflicts on that day?
Your Honor, the Zoom has enabled me to be several places at one time.
That is one of the benefits of Zoom, I have found. Okay, so Mr. Kane, you're ordered to appear. I'm going to have you, is this going to be a plea for time or probation? Do we know, Ms. Heisel? Are you familiar with the case at all? Or Mr. Hughes, do you know?
Your Honor, I'm not.
Your Honor, I'm not positive. I will need to talk with the new DA. And if you'll tell me her name again, I'll get in touch with her.
Yes, that's Miss Hillary Heisel. You should see her on the screen right there. It's
Well, I do. Is that my name?
Heisel.
Okay, thank you, Judge. Hi, Hillary.
All right, so February 18th, 9 a.m. Mr. Kane, I'm just going to order you to come on to the courthouse so that you can get your fingerprint on the judgment. So you'll just appear at the courthouse. Mr. Hughes, once you get the paperwork done, the paperwork can be sent back to the state, and then we can make arrangements here to have it signed and Mr. Kane fingerprinted, and you can still appear via Zoom so long as you've gone over that with Mr. Kane before the 18th.
I will do that, Judge. Thank you.
All right. So we'll see you.
Confusion.
It's okay. We'll see you back on February 18th at 9 a.m.
You sure will. Thanks, Judge.
You're free to go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bring in a probation real quick.
Good morning. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Ms. Thompson, can you see and hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Sorry about that. My dog just started barking as well. I apologize.
That's okay. Well, we'll move quickly. Sorry to keep you waiting so long. This is CR 16447, State versus Jacqueline Thompson. And before the court today is an amendment to your conditions of community supervision. It says here, Ms. Thompson, that you're wanting the court to allow you to extend your period of probation for an additional 3 months. That would make your new expiration date May 6th of 2021. Why are you wanting the court to allow you 3 more months on probation?
Oh, I'm attending these first step classes. They end on the last Thursday of February, and my probation expires on the 6th. So I needed 2 more weeks through no fault of my own to complete the class.
Okay. And has anyone threatened you, forced you, or pressured you to ask for this extension?
No, sir.
And you believe if I grant this, this will allow you to successfully complete your community supervision?
Yes, sir.
All right, Ms. Thompson, the court's going to grant the amendment to your conditions of community supervision. The court orders that your probation period is extended by 3 months, beginning February 7th, 2021, and ending on May 6th, 2021. You can get a copy of this from your probation officer, okay?
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. You're free to go.
Enjoy your day.
You too. Good morning, Mr. Weiner. How are you, sir?
You would think after like over a year of doing this, I would unmute myself. Sorry. Good morning, Judge. How are y'all?
I'm good. I just lost a $2 bill because you didn't hit unmute. So thanks a lot for that.
Did you really?
I bet for you in the pool. And I just lost $2 bill. So
I'm sorry to let you down. Hopefully it's last time.
Let's see. You have Marcus Gardner. I don't see Marcus Gardner online.
He was calling in.
Okay. I do see a phone number here. Let me see if this is Mr. Gardner. Mr. Gardner, are you there? Can you hear me? Let me ask him to unmute.
His phone number is a 214 area code, Judge.
I believe this is him. I've asked him to unmute. I show he's in our meeting. Should be able to hear us, but we can't hear him.
This is actually, that is his mother's number because it ends in 087. And he was very nervous about getting this to work. So I'm sure he's just not familiar with how to unmute, which apparently I am as well, Judge.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that works on the telephone. I'm assuming that there's some kind of audio voice prompt. I keep pressing it to see if he would. How about this? Let's make an executive decision. Do you want to try to call him, Mr. Weiner?
Sure, I've got
him on speaker.
Yes, I've got his cell phone number. Let me see if I can get him to answer.
Hello?
Hey, Marcus, I've got you on speakerphone on the court recording. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Okay. I do have him on speakerphone, Judge. It's Marcus.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Weiner. This is cause number CR 20-161-162, State versus Marcus Dwayne Gardner for docket call today. Go ahead, Mr. Weiner.
Yes, Your Honor. It was set for docket call. I had requested the discovery, and for some reason there was a miscommunication. I hadn't gotten until last week. When I announced to put this case on docket call, I had reviewed the discs in this case and didn't believe that I would have a reason to file a motion to suppress. But after reviewing the written discovery, I do have a reason and a need to file one. And so I need to just get this set on a contested docket. I've used the time this morning while waiting to get out of the waiting room to finalize that, and I'll be e-serving Hillary this afternoon with that motion to suppress.
State, do you have any objection?
No, Your Honor. Mr. Weiner told me that this motion to suppress was coming. Typically, we ask that the court not set it for contested hearing until that is filed in with the clerk. But if Mr. Weiner is going to file it today, that would be fine.
All right. I'm going to, as an officer of the court, I'm going to rely on Mr. Weiner's statement that he is getting that filed in, and we will set this for a contested motion to suppress hearing on February 25th. Is there any conflict with that date, council?
Double checking. No, Your Honor, that'll be fine. What time will that be?
We'll just set that at 9 a.m.
Okay. And are those done in person or will they be done via Zoom as well?
They will be done via Zoom as well, unless there is a written request to the court satisfying the objective criteria promulgated by the Office of Court Administration. And no, I don't have that written down, but I do have it memorized.
Said it a few times, huh? Okay.
A couple times.
Okay, I
So-
appreciate that, Judge.
So if a need arises to do that in person, then you'll just submit that in writing and tell me why. And then, I anticipate that we could probably do it via Zoom if it's just going to be officer testimony but if there's going to be exhibits, video, things of that nature, then put that in writing and send it to the court, and we may be able to authorize an in-person proceeding.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. So, Mr. Gardner, do you understand what's going on here today?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're due back on February 25th via Zoom, unless Mr. Weiner tells you it's going to be in person. And I want you to stay in contact with your bondsman, your attorney, and your pretrial release officer. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Gardner, you're free to go.
Thank Marcus. I'll give you a call in a few minutes, Marcus. Okay.
Okay, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weiner. I appreciate your patience this morning.
Absolutely. I've got one more though, Judge.
Oh, you do? I don't see it. Oh, I do. Yes, I do. Jacob Howell. Is Mr. Howell going to be joining us via Zoom?
He's not, and I've been in contact with the state. He is currently on a ventilator in a medically induced coma after a suicide attempt. Obviously, I have not spoken with him. I've spoken to his family. They've sent me a picture of him in the hospital bed. I've really tried to leave him alone, to be honest, but the last few days, it's my understanding that they've tried to take him off the ventilator and he has not responded well. They're trying to drill down and figure out what kind of brain damage he has. They know that there's some sort of moderate or severe brain damage, but they won't know the full extent of it until if and when he's able to come off the ventilator. So I'm kind of at a standstill on it. My understanding is that they wouldn't have an objection to resetting this.
That's correct, Your Honor. Mr. Weiner's been updating me on Mr. Howell's condition. Obviously, we can't move forward at this point. So as long as Mr. Weiner keeps me apprised, I have no objection to a reset.
Okay, let's put this on status for March 11th.
Is that a 9 a.m. dock as well, Judge?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll set this for hospital status on March 11th at 9 a.m.
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have anything on the afternoon docket?
I do not, Judge. That's all I have.
Well, I hope you enjoy your afternoon, sir.
Thanks. Hey, double down on me next time. I'll get your money back, okay?
But which way? Do I double down against you? Or
Always bet for me.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Have a good one.
You too. All right. There's Mr. Holland and Mr. Harper. Let's bring in Mr. Holland.
Okay, Kyle, I just was on the phone with him. He said he was in the room.
Yes, I've got him in the courtroom now and he's connecting to audio. We're gonna give him just a moment.
Great. Sorry for the confusion.
No problem. I appreciate you getting him on. All right, I'm sorry, Mr. Holland. Unmute again. All right, Mr. Holland, can you see and hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry about that. Whenever you hit unmute, I was hitting unmute as well, and we just canceled each other out. Okay, this is cause number CR 20291, State versus Kyle James Holland. Record will reflect that we're conducting this hearing via Zoom today, and Mr. Holland's counsel, Mr. Aaron Harper, is also present in the courtroom. Mr. Holland, can you see Mr. Harper?
No, sir, I cannot.
Okay. If you're on your device, you may have to swipe left or right, and you'll see different images of those involved in the hearing. You'll see the state's attorneys, and you'll see Mr. Harper. But Mr. Harper, I can assure you, is is present in our court.
I can see you, Kyle. I think you're just not in gallery view. There's a separate view setting you have to get on.
I see it. I see.
Okay, good,
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
can see
all
it.
right, Mr. Harper, we are set for pretrial today. And so that what the court would want to know is, one, if you received all the discovery from the state, if you've reviewed that, and if you intend on filing any contested pretrial motions to include suppression, motions to quash, things of that nature.
Judge, we are still, we're anticipating to have this portal situation solved by this week. We've had some trouble with it. We do have the mailing off. My assistant told me she's going to get that out as well this week. So we don't have this. Me and Tyler, I left a message for him yesterday, but we haven't had a chance to confer just yet because I think, just the nature of things, I think Tyler was out of the office for a little bit. Good to see you, Tyler.
Yes, sir.
But we're very early on. At this point, we're not prepared to make a direction just yet as a result.
So you don't have discovery at this time?
Correct. Because we were not set up on your portal yet, and we've had some trouble with the portal. We're anticipating to have that working this week.
Judge, I see in our system that is correct. It does not appear as though he's fully registered. I will have my office reach out to him and ensure that he gets his access as soon as possible.
Okay. What the court's going to do then, Mr. Harper, is I'm going to reset this case for pretrial on March 11th. And what that should do is allow you and the state to get discovery exchanged, and then under the code, you'll be required to file any contested pretrial motions 7 days prior to that hearing. So that should give you some time to get your discovery worked out, and then on pretrial, if there are no contested pretrial motions, then what we'll do is we'll make that announcement, and then the next step the court does is sets it for docket call, which gives you an additional setting after that pretrial hearing. So let's say that you don't file any contested pretrial motions, then the court would set you for an additional setting for you to try to resolve any kind of plea agreement with the state or get the state to accept a counter. If by chance you do file a motion, I see this at DWI 30, if you do file a motion to suppress, say, then on that date, the court would give you an additional date of the contested hearing. And that's the next date was when we would come in and we would take testimony and make arguments. We wouldn't do it on the 11th. So on the 11th will just be the deadline to file the pretrial motions 7 days before that hearing.
Judge, on the 11th, is that going to be a Zoom setting like this?
Yes, sir. It will be a Zoom setting. Because
just to let you know, I will be on the road that week, and I'll probably be able to log in. But it's a situation I have a prearranged. It looks like I'm going to be on the road from the 7th to the 14th.
Okay, so let me look. That's March 7th through the 14th. Yeah. All right. Well, let me look here. Maybe I can find you a different date that'll help you.
I could probably log on, but I'm not certain of the Wi-Fi or that type of thing.
I can move it earlier, but it's not going to give you as much time. I can move you to February 18th.
The February is going to be a little tight. Could we go the March 4th, perhaps the week before?
I don't have a criminal setting on March 4th.
We could leave it as such, Judge. I just and normally, I mean, I'm on interstates and things, and where I'm staying normally has Wi-Fi when I'm traveling, so it shouldn't be an issue on the 11th.
Okay. Well, then I obviously have no objection to you appearing if you're in the vehicle or whatever, as long as you're pulled over and you're safe about it. Got no problem with that. So, okay, we'll keep it on March 11th then at 9 a.m. So, Mr. Holland, I need you to continue to report to your bondsman and to your pretrial supervision officer and stay in contact, of course, with Mr. Harper, and he'll be able to provide you the Zoom ID on that date, and you'll also appear via Zoom.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, we'll see you back on March 11th.
Thank you. Tyler, we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, you're free to go. Mr. Woodwike, on Mr. Brian Reyes, there was Mr. Tiboletti had filed a motion for continuance. At first, he had contacted Ms. Tabraham and requested a pass, said the state was in agreement with it. And so I just went ahead and asked him to file a motion for continuance, so we would have that in the file. He has done so, but in the motion, he doesn't say that he's consulted you, that you're agreed, that you're opposed. He doesn't say at all. But Ms. Tabraham indicated to me that you had sent her an email saying you were unopposed to that. Is that all that true?
Yes, Judge. We had spoken by email. He had a doctor's appointment and asked that it be reset. State is unopposed to that. I'm not sure why he didn't include that we were unopposed, but we are unopposed.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is set that for pretrial on February 18th. And I'm going to go in and sign his continuance in e-file. We'll do that at 9 a.m.
Judge, did we ever get an update on Mr. Tanner, Mr. Schmidt's client? Maybe I missed what we were doing with that.
No, he had, Mr. Schmidt had indicated that Mr. Tanner was having difficulties with his Zoom and that Mr. Schmidt had asked him to report to his office. And so Mr. Schmidt had logged off and he was going to log back on. He was supposed to log back on if he got him or contact me if he wasn't going to make it. So he's the only one that I see here. So tell you what, let's just take a recess. Let me have Ms. Tabraham or Ms. Barker call him and see if we can get an update. But I show him to be the last on my docket that we have not gotten an announcement on today. Do you see
That's
something?
what I show as well, Judge.
Okay. If I miss something, you let me know, but that's the only one I don't have checked off. So let me, we'll stand a recess for a few minutes and see if we can get an update. All right, I've received an update from Mr. Schmidt on Skylar Matthew Tanner on CR 2312. Mr. Tanner is still having difficulty logging in, so I've ordered him to appear via Zoom at 1:30. He's going to either appear, he's going to come to the courthouse and appear in our video conference room, or he will appear at Mr. Schmidt's office. I understand that he does not have transportation, so I believe he's walking. So I'm going to give him some time to see if he can comply. And so if he zooms in at 1:30, we'll just take him up at the same time we take up the jail docket. So
Thank you.
you're
Sounds
welcome.
good, Judge.
That'll conclude our AM docket with the exception of him. So I guess we'll resume at 1:30.
Thank you, Your
Judge,
Honor.
could I have a brief housekeeping matter, not on the morning docket?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, I filed a motion for continuance in the Tasha Morris case that is currently set for Thursday. I just wanted to make the court aware. I don't know if you reviewed that or not. I was unable to get that notarized because I am stuck at home. And so I just wanted to make the court aware that that was not notarized. However, it was served on Mr. Leader, and he has indicated to me via email that he is not opposed to a reset as our witness is unavailable in that case.
Okay, I'll go for that. So he's unopposed. Did you put that with your motion or you're just?
Judge, in the motion, I just put that I had notified him that we would be filing it because at that point he hadn't responded, but now he has. And I'd be happy to forward that with Mr. Leader's email to the court if the court would like receipt of that.
Yes, if you would. And then what I'll do is if I grant that, then I put that with the order and then I'll have that filed. That way we see there was no objection by the defendant. So if later there's a motion for speedy trial, we'll have that reason.
No problem. Just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page. Thanks, Judge.
Okay, yeah, sure. I'll go find that. Anything else?
See you.
All right, enjoy your lunch. See you.